If you're somebody who was born in the early to mid 2000s, you don't know anything about this club, or you know barely anything about this Spanish club. A club which in the past 25 years won a La Liga. A club that was once considered one of the top four best teams in Spanish football. A club that once did one of the most incredible stories in Spanish football when they won the league in 2000. A club that won the Copa del Rey at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid in their 100-year anniversary. A club which created one of the greatest comebacks in Champions League history in 2004 against the almighty AC Milan, defending European champions, when they were 4-1 down and won the second leg 4-0. A club which was a secure top 4 team for so many years. A club which had superstars like Valerón, Moro Silva, Roy Mackay, Cisco, and so many other great names. A club which was once at the pinnacle of Spanish football. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about how a great club which was once great in Spanish football has not been seen for 7 years, and genuinely they don't look like they're ever gonna come back in the league, or are not coming back in the league anytime soon. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar BYT, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome, guys, to another Fallen Giant episode, guys. Last week, I did the Valencia video. It did very, very well. A lot of you guys liked it. And I thought that this time around, I would go, try to make this a regular show. I know it's not going to be easy. There's some clubs that I'm thinking of. And there's going to be more of these shows. I'm going to be talking about a lot of these clubs who were once great, who have now declined, and give you guys a little bit of a scoop of why they declined or what happened to these teams and how it all happened. And last week, I obviously talked about Valencia, who have been going through a lot of problems this season in La Liga. But I do want to now focus on another club, guys. Another Spanish club, which, for many of you guys who know me as a Barcelona fan and as a Spanish football fan, I really do read into my history when it comes to Spanish football. And for many people who are not Spanish fans, they don't know who Deportivo La Coruña is, or they don't know how big Deportivo La Coruña is. If you're someone who, whether you watch La Liga football or not, but you watched football in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, you remember how good Deportivo La Coruña were. They were a team that was a regular Champions League team, a team that had a lot of incredible players, a team that used to challenge Barcelona and Real Madrid and Valencia at the top of the table regularly for seasons upon seasons upon seasons. And in their crowning moment in 1999-2000 season, this great club, Super Depor, did the impossible by dethroning Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Valencia, and won their first La Liga trophy in the year of 2000. A beautiful moment for such a great club, this amazing Galician club. And it looked like it was a dawn of a new era when it came to Deportivo La Coruña. They had an owner who wasn't afraid to splash the cash. He wanted to make Deportivo a regular European heavyweight, or basically at the top of the La Liga table, challenging Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Valencia in that time. And it was working out for a while. Deportivo were one of the best teams in La Liga, right? They were regularly in the top 4. They were challenging in the league some years, But most importantly, they were challenging in other tournament trophies as well. They won the Spanish Super Cup 3 times, right? Impressive. But most importantly, they won 3 Copa del Rey's in that time. The last one that they won was in 2002 against Real Madrid. A Real Madrid team that were going for a treble that season. They were fighting for the league, fighting for a Champions League, and fighting for Copa del Rey. And in their home stadium at the Bernabeu, this club, this incredible club, Deportivo, did the impossible. On their 100th-year anniversary itself, they beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu to win the Copa del Rey. And they didn't seem like it was ever going to stop when it came to Deportivo. They continued doing well. And in the year of 2003-2004 Champions League season, Deportivo La Coruña were one of the best surprise packages in the Champions League. They were performing incredibly well. In the quarterfinals, they were given the hard task of playing the defending champions, AC Milan. And let me remind you all, this is AC Milan of the prime era of AC Milan. I'm talking about AC Milan of Maldini, the AC Milan of Seedorf, of Kaká, of Rivaldo, of Shevchenko, of Pirlo, of Inzaghi. This was the primest prime AC Milan team that you can ever think of. And they were basically looking like the favorites. Around that time, a lot of the heavyweights had already been knocked out. So it looked like it was a formality in that game against Deportivo that they were going to beat them. Now, to put this into context of how much of a big game this was, compare it to our Real Madrid playing Arsenal in the Champions League this season. Now, this is not a disrespect to Arsenal, but Real Madrid are Real Madrid, and Arsenal are not really, many people are now looking at Arsenal as a threat to Real Madrid. Now, imagine if Real Madrid get knocked out by this Arsenal team. This current Arsenal team, not Arsenal team in history, but as far as this Arsenal team, how they've been doing in the past few years, that was Deportivo in La Liga. They were a team that was always doing well, but nobody really thought that they could do it when it counted against the big boys. So in 2004, in that game, in the quarterfinals, when they lost 4-1 at the San Siro, nobody batted an eyelid. No one cared because they understood, listen, it's over. There's no way. What could Deportivo do in the second leg? Well, I'll tell you what they could do in the second leg. They did more than anyone expected. They went to that second leg and they beat the European champions, the defending champions, the best team in Europe that season, 4-0. They basically came back into the tie. They were winning on aggregate before halftime. That is how incredible that moment was in 2004. And it's forever etched in the hearts of many Deportivo La Coruña fans. But, to be honest with you all, that's really where everything peaked for them. Deportivo La Coruña after 2004, they were never the same. Slowly as the years went by, this club started to struggle. They were no longer challenging for top 4. They were no longer even challenging for top 8. It got to a point where they were a mid-table club. And as things went by, they slowly went lower and lower in the table until eventually, in 2011, this once La Liga winning team, 11 years after they won their first La Liga trophy, they got relegated. Now, for those of you who want to know the reason behind why this club went through such a steep decline when they looked like the sky was the limit for them, you have to really look at what was happening behind the scenes. You see, the president of Deportivo at the time, President Augusto Cesar Lodorio, was an ambitious owner who was not afraid to spend money to buy the best players who could do well at Deportivo. The issue with him was the rules in football was changing as time went by, where with the restrictions of things like FFP and everything else, Deportivo started struggling with their wage bill. It was becoming a problem. They were having financial issues around the late 2000s. And their over-reliance on their older generation, rather than quickly trying to recruit young players to basically continue the mold and relying on the older generation, was a consequence of why they were left behind when clubs like Atletico de Madrid, who were once relegation fodder at some point when Deportivo were on a high, how they just came in and just overtook them. Clubs like Sevilla, how they just came in and overtook them. In the end, they were struggling so much with finances that they could not really go out and actually spend the money that could help them even stay relevant in the league. And in the end, it culminated with them getting relegated in 2011. Now, in 2013, they actually came back into the league. And it was looking good for them. They had been in the league for 5 seasons, but in 2017-18, once again, this club got relegated. Now, it was very unfortunate when they got relegated again. Many people thought, they would be back eventually, but it's 2025. It's been over 7 years, and quite frankly, there is no light at the end of the tunnel right now. They're 14th in the Segunda Division. There doesn't seem to be light at the end of the tunnel for this once great club. And it's a very, very sad state of affairs. But unfortunately, this is something that happens regularly in La Liga. We've seen it now with them. We're seeing it now with Valencia. We saw with Malaga. A lot of these ambitious Spanish clubs don't actually end up reaching the level that they can reach. Because unfortunately, if I'm going to be honest, the league is very much skewed through Barca and Madrid a lot of the times. They are the breadwinners of Spanish football. And unfortunately for clubs like a Deportivo who are ambitious, unless they have owners who are willing to who really have the fat pockets to go out and actually spend the money and be able to sustain it, unfortunately, you're always going to fall like teams like Deportivo. It's a very sad state of affairs, but like I mentioned, it's not looking good for them. This club is a big club. A club that should be a La Liga regular at the least. A club that should be, being in European football, not even Champions League, maybe Europa League or Conference League. Because they are a club of royalty. It's very rare, right? When you think about some of the Spanish clubs, right? You got Barca, Madrid, you have Bilbao, you have Atletico de Madrid, you have Sevilla, Betis. Some of these clubs, apart from Barca, Madrid, and Atleti, and Valencia, of course, the last team to actually win the league in the past 25 years was Deportivo La Coruña. And to see them not even be in the league anymore is so sad. And unfortunately, it doesn't really look good for them. But here's me being a football lover and a La Liga lover, hoping that, this club can book their ideas and try to get back into the league. Because I think that it would be great to see this once great club in Spanish football return to the first division of Spanish football. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. Tell me what you guys think. If you guys remember anything about Deportivo, if you guys are someone who was like in the 90s and early 2000s who watched the Deportivo team, tell me what you guys think. Tell me your earliest memories of them. If you're a Deportivo fan, tell me what things are like at your club right now. But big up to all of you guys watching. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. Like I always say when I end these streams, Visca el Barça, Visca el Catalunya. Peace, you guys. Take care.